Hello everyone, welcome to this week's video. I was away last week, so you didn't see a video from me. And I'll actually not be in shul this Shabbos, but I will be back next week. Is of course Chanukah, and we have a very busy week. We have communal lightings organised by Rabbi Kievman, Chabad of Liverpool. Always a wonderful occasion. And then of course within our shul we have a Chanukah tea, we have a paint night. I look forward to seeing you, and of course on Shabbos for the davening, for us to celebrate Chanukah. I'd like to welcome you to join us so we can start being once again an active and vibrant community. The Chanukah story is really quite familiar to us because it's a story of assimilation. It's a story that took place over 2,000 years ago, where the Hellenists, the Greeks, the Syrian Greeks of the time, tried to convince the Jewish people that there was a better way, that there was something else. You didn't have to be religious, you didn't have to be so Jewish, you could get involved in culture, in celebrating the human body, and doing other things. And had the Greeks had their way, had they managed to successfully ban things like Shabbos and Rosh Chodesh, which would mean we couldn't celebrate new months, so we'd have no Yom Tov. If they had taken that all out of our lives, imagine no Pesach Seder, no sitting in the Sukkah, no hearing the shofar on Rosh Hashanah, no lighting your candles. These are the elements of Judaism that really keep Judaism alive. If they were to have successfully taken them away from us, there would be no Jewish people, because they would have won. And luckily for us, for those who, of course, believe and celebrate the special nation that we are, they didn't win. But for us to have any idea of how to approach the world we live in today and be successful at fighting the rampant materialism and the secular agenda that's thrust upon us so much by the world around us, the powerful media and the voices we hear all the time, we can perhaps take a look at what the Maccabeans, what the Hashmonaim did, and then apply that to our lives. And if we do so, we will also be successful in preventing them from destroying the Jewish people. And the first thing perhaps we could say is that Chanukah reminds us to be active. Every Jewish home has a menorah, and that's Jewish continuity. Jewish continuity is not so much about coming to shul and bringing kids to shul. Beyond that, it starts in the home, and that's the impact the Chashmonaim, the Chanukah, the story has, is we have to show that we're going to take action when we're Jewish, and that applies whether it's tasting the challah, crunching the matzah, looking at the lighting and enjoying the glow of the candles, because that's what leaves an impression. And of course we make it fun, we give kids chocolate money and presents and sweets on Shabbos because we want to make it enjoyable. But the main thing is, number one, is we have to be active in our Yiddishkeit. The second lesson which we can take to heart is that Chanukah also reminds us that we have to be proud of our Judaism. We put the menorah out the window. Let people see that we're lighting a candle. Let them ask us what the candle is. Let us explain that this represents a Jewish continuity of thousands of years for people who fought for the for Jewish community, for Jewish continuity. Of course, Chanukah, the word actually comes from the same root as chinuch, which means education. If we want to continue the Judaism for our generations, we have to first, of course, educate ourselves and then pass that education on to others. And every night we light an extra light. We're showing that we want to grow. We don't want to remain on candle one. We want to grow slowly but surely, increase our knowledge, increase holiness, and bring that down and pass that on. And finally, of course, Chanukah is connecting us to the Holy Land of Israel, because it's a temple miracle that we're commemorating. And that miracle, finding the cruse of oil and it lasting 8 days, it gives us that chance to explain to our children what the temple was and how we're a people that's like bereft and in exile, and we hope one day that we'll be able to come back. And even though it's been so long, we know that Hashem has promised us that one day we're going to be returned and celebrate Chanukah. Today we're lucky we can go to Israel, and hopefully post-pandemic, at least if you've got the right connections, the right family reasons you can get in. But hopefully we'll also soon start going back to Israel. And with the coming of Mashiach, it won't just be for visits, it will be long-term. We'll be once again people celebrating Yiddishkeit, Judaism, in our own holy land. So that's a message for Chanukah. Let's think about how assimilation was conquered in the time of the Chanukah story, and let's try and apply the same lessons, and we'll have the same success. Please God. Wish you all a Shabbat Shalom and a good Chanukah.